everybody, welcome back to video number 2 in my grade 11 trigonometry series. So today we are looking at this example. They are asking us to reduce each of the following to a trigonometric ratio of an acute angle. Now we need to remember that an acute angle is an angle between 0 and 90 degrees. I'm just using X to represent the angle. Obviously it can be any variable that they might use. So for A, they have given us sine 130 degrees. So for A, they have given us sine 130 degrees. Now, when we are asked to change any trig ratio, essentially, we always have to refer back to our cast diagram. So we need to remember that all the trig ratios are positive in quadrant 1, only sine is positive in quadrant 2, tan is positive in quadrant 3, and cos is positive in quadrant 4. We also need to know what degrees or which degrees we're working with. We have 0, we have 90, we have 180, 270, and then 360. Now when we are given sine 130, we are going to have to rewrite 130 in a different way using either 180 degrees, because that is close to 130. That is the angle on the end of a quadrant that is close or on the one side of 130, or we can also use 90 since that is on the other side of 130. So I am either going to write 180 degrees minus 50 degrees. Please note that these two values are equal to each other. I've just written them slightly differently. I've just rewritten 130 as 180 minus 50. Now, 130 degrees is an angle in the second quadrant. So once we have rewritten 130 as 180 minus 50, we now need to think, what is sine in the second quadrant? What is the sign of that trig ratio? Is it going to be positive or negative? It is going to be positive. So now I can change this. I can use one of my reduction formulas and I can just change this to sine of 50 degrees. So you leave out the 180 minus and you just express it with the sign in that quadrant, which is positive, like we said. So essentially this is positive sign. And you take away the 180 minus, you drop that 180 minus, and you just leave the 50. Like I said, we had another option. We could also rewrite 130 in a different way. We could say that it is the same as 90 degrees plus 40 degrees. This angle is still in the second quadrant. It is still the quadrant where sine is positive, but now you just need to be careful. Remember, when you are working with a 90 plus or 90 minus, you need to use the co-ratio. So when I express this differently, when I use my reduction formula, I am not allowed to reduce this to sine of 40. I am instead going to change the sign to cos. Again, what we have rewritten 130 as, remember those two values need to be equal to each other. And now we are basically just going to apply the same method to all of the others. So cos 200 degrees, 200 I'm going to rewrite as 180 degrees plus 20 degrees. I need to remember which quadrant is this in. 180 plus 20, 200 degrees. This is in the third quadrant. Take note again that what I have now put in brackets is equal to the original angle that was given. Now, what is cos in the third quadrant? Only tan is positive in the third quadrant. So that means that cos is going to be negative in the third quadrant. So when I now reduce this, when I drop the 180 plus, I need to change that to negative cos of that acute angle in that bracket of 20 degrees. For tan of 320, again, I'm going to rewrite the angle. I am going to write this as 360 degrees minus 40 degrees, right? Because 360 minus 40 is the same as 320. Which quadrant is 320 in? It is between 270 and 360, so it is in the fourth quadrant. What is tan in the fourth quadrant? Because this is a tan question, it is negative. So when I change this, when I drop the 360 minus, I need to change it to negative tan of that acute angle of 40 degrees. I'm just realizing now I forgot to add here quadrant 4. Now, one thing that I didn't mention in these last two questions is the 270. You might be wondering, why did I only do 180 plus and 360 minus? The 270-degree reduction formula are not in the syllabus anymore, but it works the same as 90 plus. So for cos 200, we could have changed this to 270 minus 70 degrees, because again 200 is equal to 270 minus 70. The angle is still in the third quadrant. It is still where cos is negative, but now because it's 270, it works the same as 90, so we would have to use the co-ratio again. Whenever it's 270, you also have to change cos to sine, but I actually suggest that you steer clear of this, because now cos in the third quadrant is negative. So even though we're changing it to sine, we have to change it to negative sine of 70 degrees. If we wanted to use the same method for the last question, we would say that 320 is the same as tan 270 plus 50 degrees. But now we have a problem because we actually don't work with the co-ratio of tan in the syllabus. So now you might feel stuck. The co-ratio of tan is cot, but it's not in the syllabus. So again, steer clear of this, but just for interest's sake, 320 is the same as 270 plus 50. That angle is still in the fourth quadrant. Tan is still negative. So now because it's 270, you need to change it to the co-ratio, which is cot, which is also not in the syllabus anymore, of 50 degrees. Right, I hope that was useful, guys. Please like and leave a comment if it was, and let me know what else you guys would like to see on my channel.